Welcome back, everyone. Today we're on episode 4. Can you believe this? Oh my goodness. We have a very special guest with us as always. Guest, please introduce yourself.
I am Paul McKenzie.
Paul McKenzie. First of all, this conversation is long overdue, isn't it?
Way too overdue.
And you go by many titles.
Way too many titles.
So much. You're a youth worker, you're a CEO.
Filmmaker, some people have called me. Award winning.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But let's not dive too much into that.
Yeah,
because we'll be here all day. So I've got some questions for you. So our first topic is to talk about foam. So tell the audience, what is foam?
Okay, really interesting question. So foam is a social media platform we created a couple of years ago. You're part of this.
Yes.
Don't act like you don't know anything about this. A couple of years ago, it's freedom of adverse media, because I'm an advocate of looking into social media, finding all the negatives. I mean, I call social media a beautiful devil. So we came up with the concept of creating almost like a pure social media platform. So we created Freedom of Adverse Media, which is a platform we use to launch films. We also teach young people about intellectual property. And we also have another offshoot called Freedom. So it's kind of a social media tied into a film platform to combat this whole thing about giving away your intellectual property.
And that's a massive thing.
That's massive.
Because as young filmmakers, you know, we will go and make films and whatever, and we will want to upload it straight to these big platforms, whatever, but we're not taught about intellectual property and how we can make money off our own projects even. Yeah, and that's something we learned from young.
But it's by keeping your products. Yes. And these platforms are created for you to, it's almost like you spend 2 or 3 months shooting a film. Yeah. And then you just give it to this platform, and they make all the advertising, they make all the money, and you just move on to the next project because the only payment you got was likes. Yeah. And so foam is kind of the opposite to that. So it's less likes, more of your work going towards things like film festivals and actually having some longevity. Yes. So that's why we came up with that whole concept of that.
It's an amazing concept. So please let the audience know where can they find this, because you've enticed them. You gotta let them know where.
Well, you can go on the internet and it's www.foam.com. Again, Freedom of Adverse Media. And you can also check out the social media platform, which is 3dom.social. And you can find all the information there.
Guys, get at it, because this is big, I promise you. Paul McKenzie, what is the dream with the work that you do, and what is the overall goal?
Well, you got some good questions there, right? So,
oh, come on, man.
The dream and the overall goal for me is always going to be, well, it's multifaceted, which is why I've got so many different titles. One of the elements I'm working on now, it's all about teaching people how to public speakers. So I want to create public speakers, because I believe that a lot of the challenges that young people have is because they're not confident in who they are, and actually speaking and using vocabulary to say, this is who I am, this is what I do.
A lot of people are shy.
So one of the dreams is a public speaking platform, public speaking workshop. The other dream is always going to be to work with young people in the capacity of enabling them to just be better than they currently are, and continuously doing that. And then, you know, there's so many other areas that lead off of that, like workshops and, you know, so it's kind of an endless thing. It's a passion that keeps growing, and I just stay consistent and just keep trying to make innovations.
And I feel blessed because we have worked together for a few years now.
We worked together.
This guy. Oh my gosh. I'm saying it like a few years, you know, but I'm only 20, so I can't, I feel like I feel old when I say that. But
it's been about 3 years, isn't it? Three and a half years.
Yes.
It's been a long time.
For the audience who don't know, Paul McKenzie plays my dad in Amani. If you haven't seen Amani, what are you doing? Please go watch Amani. Off the back of that, we've made a few short films, haven't we?
We've made a few short
films. Talk briefly about them.
Was that when we first met?
No, we met on Amani. And then
no, is that when we first met? Was on the Amani?
Yes.
Was that when we first met?
Yep.
Seems so long ago, right?
It was.
There's so many things.
But yes, talk about the short films we've made afterwards, because we've made a good few, haven't we?
Well, first of all, after Amani, we made Sick.
Yes.
Which was a film it was very innovative for that time, because we kind of pushed against the norm of making youth culture films, which were all about violence, all about drugs. We went there. We addressed mental health. So we chose this film called Sick, and we came up with this like, this film was sick.
Everything alright? Nothing wrong with me, is there? We're making it all up. Why are you raising your window? Shut up, man. Why are you done?
And it was all about mental health in youth. And we worked alongside a beautiful cast.
Amazing.
Who all contributed. And we actually completed that in less than a month.
Yes, we did.
And just you tell them where that film went. So we completed it in less than a month.
We completed the film in less than a month, and we took this film. Okay, audience, let me sit closer so you can understand what I'm saying. We took this film to the National Gallery.
There you have it.
Let me repeat that again, because I don't think that settled in.
Listen.
We took this film to the National Gallery. We screened it in the National Gallery. Was it in Black History Month as well, right?
It was in Black History. It actually made history because it was the first film of its kind screened there in Black History Month. And so everybody went, the cast went, and you got the opportunity to talk to the gallery. But let's just backtrack for 2 minutes.
Yes.
So after we finished making that film, we screened it in Tottenham. So we thought we'd screen it first to the community, and we sold out. It was a sold out audience. Sold out. Over 150 people came to watch this film that these young people made.
And that's real support. This is groundwork community support. Yeah. This is what it's all about. We sold it out. Over 150 tickets. We had some new cast and crew come up to talk about future short films that we've made along. So tell them about the next one. What was the next one, bro?
So then after that, if my memory serves me right, we pushed the barriers again, didn't we? We pushed the boundaries again because I wanted to make another film. And Ellis said to me, well, what kind of film? What's the next project? What's the next project? What did I say to you?
Yes.
I want to make a horror film. And we were like, Ellis was like, a horror film? And I was like, yeah, a horror film. We got to push these boundaries. So we went there. We went there.
We went there again. Push the boundaries.
And we made a horror film. We made a film called Karma. A beautiful film about addressing the victims of serious violence. And so for me, the whole concept of the film was what happens to the victims of serious violence? Who listens to them? What's running through their minds? What do they want to do to their perpetrators? And so we made a film which reflected exactly what they would do given the chance to meet the people that attacked them. So it was kind of loosely based around the dream. And I remember what was amazing about the film is that the lead actor was actually has cerebral palsy.
Yes.
So we again, I think what you're missing here is again we absolutely smashed and pushed the boundaries again, because we made the lead actor somebody who is supposedly not able to do any of these things. And so we casted him as the lead actor, and he was absolutely amazing.
He smashed it.
A man called Abdi Omar.
Yes.
It's a big shout out, and I don't normally do a shout out, but
One by one, your lives will change.
I'm so sorry.
Tonight you will feel what I have felt for the last 3 years. You have been chosen.
Am I in a fridge?
Abdi Omar, do follow him. He's on all the social media platforms. He does not let his cerebral palsy stop him, and he's actually at the moment doing motivational speaking. So this is somebody you should watch out for. So we actually casted him as in the lead, which completely changed his life.
Yes.
Completely changed his life. And it was just an amazing project.
It was a fantastic project, and just to talk a bit more about it as well, we shot this in, most of this was in Tottenham as well.
Most of it was in Tottenham.
And oh man, we done some things to these people.
Throughout the night, do you remember that?
Yeah, we done some things to these people, man. But listen, we had one guy in the fridge at one point.
Yep. Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah,
it's like,
again, we got to go for it, man. We had some guy on the table. We had Dalvin on the table.
Dalvin
we talked about this last week. Yeah, we had this
yeah,
on the table. And it was a really good
Jay
film.
Shell, she was there in the background. It was such a, what it did is it proved that by working on something collaboratively, you're able to produce something in quite a short space of time. And at the same time, you have people that want to enter into the industry. And so you give them the chance, you give them the opportunity. And these little projects go on forever if you maintain the intellectual property. And that's why I had to say that again.
Yep.
So this film, Karma.
Yep.
Let me talk about it.
Go for it,
has
man.
won,
Talk for it.
It has won 4 international awards.
Repeat that again, because I don't think they
4
understood that.
international awards. We entered this film into festivals, and we have now got 4 credits to a film that we made on the streets of Tottenham.
Can we deep that, guys?
Can we deep it?
On the streets of Tottenham, we won an award in LA. 4 awards.
Once more.
4 awards.
Sorry. So you know I had to big that one
All
up.
right. And then to fast forward that a bit more, we made another one.
Oh, wow.
We made another one.
So let's talk about this. The third film, which was called Day Zero. And again, we pushed the boundaries again. Had a friend who had a disused warehouse, came up with the concept of a young man who was struggling to come to terms with the impact of the pandemic and the world stopping. And so we decided that was a perfect time to film this short. And so we set about, we got Dalvin,
Yes.
Freezing conditions
Killed
in the
it
middle
again.
of the pandemic, in the middle of this warehouse, half naked.
Guys, I promise, we're not that bad.
We're not
okay? We're not that bad.
Please do shoot films with us. You will survive. But the whole concept of this person experiencing the impact of the pandemic on his own, I think was just an amazing.
It was fantastic
project
and
to be in.
Just the concept, to filming it, to adding certain things on the spot, to just doing it. You know what I mean? Just getting out and doing it. Yeah. And it was just a fantastic. We shot this within a week.
I think in total, with me going back to do B-roll, that bits and pieces, probably about just over a week.
Yeah.
Just over a week.
And we released it in the same month.
Yep. We released it. You see, he stops short of it all. We did this film and we released it on Christmas Day. We released this film on Christmas Day. So we were pushed. We were pushed, and we said this film is going to be ready for Christmas Day. And we even added the Christmas theme in a bid to help people through the difficult times.
You'll see the trailer again in a minute.
Yeah.
But
who's there? I'm not scared of you.
again, I want to specify that we are not bad people. Please do work with us.
Please see the link below if you want to film in less than humane conditions. I am the guy to fit. No. In all seriousness,
but we push ourselves.
We push through the boundaries.
Yes, and we really go there. So then, my next question to you: of all the things that we're doing, how do you juggle everything whilst maintaining and not neglecting family time? Because you're a father, you've got a family. You've got a family, but you do so much.
It's easy.
You do so much. So how do you juggle it? How do you manage it?
Time management is key. It took me many years to realize that the world's most successful people do many things in the same time that you have.
We all have the same 24
And all
hours.
you have to do is to allocate specific time to specific projects, but do them really well.
Yes.
So if you have an 8-hour slot to film, you film that 8 hours, but you give it your all.
You work your arse
Because
off
tomorrow you may have to do something, because you know what we also failed to mention is that we receive no funding for any of these. These are all genuinely indie films.
And let's repeat that again, because I don't think they understood. We received no funding
Zilch.
for any of the short films we've done, yet we somehow managed to get this in the National Gallery, to win 4 awards for a short film.
With no funding.
Do I need to say more?
And that is a testament to the work I do, because what I like to do is to show that things are possible. And sometimes we get, this whole funding word. There are so many great projects out there waiting to start, but the funding word's stopping it.
Yeah.
But what I do is I adopt the approach of just getting on with it and start to shoot the first scene. And then what happens after that is the second scene follows.
Yep.
And then before you know it, you're 2.5 weeks down the line, you've actually got a great storyboard.
Yep. Oh, of course. Fantastic. Okay, let's make this one quick, because this is a good one, but I want people to understand something. What is one thing you want more people to know when working on projects and short films?
What is one thing I want more people to know?
Yes, that one thing that people might take for granted while making a short film, that you want more people to understand.
Okay, so when you're making a short film, have a great story. Clearly don't do what everybody's doing. That's the one thing that will mean that your short project, which you may spend months on, would just go into this pool of everything else which is the same. So always find a story that is completely different. Always push against the genre. And in fact, I think in one of the films, we created a genre.
Yes, we did.
The film Cripple Karma
Karma.
actually created a new genre.
Yeah.
Which was, we'll talk about that after.
We'll talk about that later.
But push against those things, push against those, be creative, but most of all, just don't stop. Pick up your camera, and I'm saying this because there are people out there so creatively minded, they've got such great ideas,
You need to understand.
but they get limited by all of the process.
Of course.
And so what I prove when I'm working with people, when I'm working with young people, that it's good to have a process, and they during the process, I'm sure Ellis as well has gone,
Oh gosh.
where's this guy going with this? And I've always said, listen, just follow the process. Trust me, we'll get to the end.
Yeah.
Because if we get caught in the process, we'll never have finished 3 films in 2 years.
I think that's one of the main things I learned, is just to trust the process.
Trust the process.
Because at first you don't have a clue of what's going on half the time.
We didn't. We were sat there going, what's the next scene?
Yes.
And then we were like, that's what it is.
Boom, and we just figure
And
it
we
out
just
and we
did
do
it.
it. And we just do it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to hit you with some quick fire questions. But before that, since we've sold these films that we've made so beautifully, where can they find them?
Interesting question. They're mainly in festivals at the moment. So that if you check out the internet, because my whole goal was to send them to the festivals first before they come home. So they take maybe a year, but they do the rounds. They go to every country and then bring them back here. So Sick has also been adapted as a school workshop.
Wow.
Which is interesting because it's about mental health, and because we're just coming out of the pandemic and the lockdown. So we've actually adapted some of the scenes, which I may add. This guy's acting in that film Sick is absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And everybody that watches that film actually they feel his pain, they feel the mental health struggles he's going through. So, you know, everybody, you need to catch this guy's ability. Is absolutely amazing. But they will come back round, and my plan is that before the end of this year, all of those 3 films will be in one place with all the awards, where people can just tap 1, 2, and 3.
And that's the thing, guys. The thing about us making these short films, they get seen by these people, and you know, as Paul said, they do the rounds. So they're getting seen from different countries in the world, and people are watching. People are noticing. Paul, quick fire questions.
Quick fire.
How did you discover filmmaking?
How did I discover filmmaking?
Yes.
All right. How did I develop a love for the visual arts? Well, visual arts.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, long story compressed into an extremely short story. So, when I was 15, I didn't know what to do in my life. I got caught up in the process of crime. Unfortunately, or actually, I'm going to rephrase that. Fortunately, because it was what helped me to change my life, I ended up doing a short spell away. Make of that what you will, but a short spell is a short spell. But during this short spell, somebody asked me, and it was one of the guards asked me what I wanted to do with my life. And at the time I was in there, and I was trying to still be that character that I wasn't very good at, because clearly I was there. And he was persisting, and he said to me something that stuck, and it's something I use with young people now. What do you want to do with your life? Because you're not like everybody else here. And I don't know what he saw in me, but he said to me that tomorrow when I come back in, you tell me what you want to do with your life. And I tell you, I didn't sleep one wink that night. And I didn't want to see him again, because I knew I would have to be accountable for the answer. And so he walked over to me and said, what do you want to do with your life? The first thing that popped into my head was photography. And I never forget the first day I came out of that place, the prison. The first day I came out of prison, I stole a camera. No, I didn't. I didn't steal. That's a joke.
The wrong example.
Cut that out. That's a joke. No, but honestly, in all honesty, and this is sincerely to the audience, the first day I came out, I spoke to my mum. I was alive at the time, and I said to her, I need to borrow some money to buy a camera. I can even remember the name of my first camera, and we're going back over 30 years. It was an AE1 program, and I paid down some money on it, and I started to look at what photography was, look at the area I lived in, and then realized that I actually loved it. So I bought the camera, and to this day, even in the studio here today, I've got my own camera. To this day, I've never left my house without some kind of a camera, recording device, because I just think that we have to have these anchors that help us save our own lives, because we have to, and this is what your purpose is. And you have to remind yourself consistently throughout your life what your anchor is. And so that's where the whole love of the visual arts came from. It was almost like by accident.
Yeah.
But again, the most important thing is it was because somebody had actually asked me.
And one thing I love about that story is that someone actually asked you, and you felt accountable.
I had to answer him.
Answer him. But then that's all it takes. All it takes is that one person to truly believe in you, or ask you something that's going to have you like, oh my goodness, I need to figure this out, and I need to be held accountable for this. And ever since that, just your story has just gone to different heights.
It's now something I teach. I've been teaching young. You know, whenever I do my workshops, I always start off with that whole same thing about what do you want to do with your life. It's a question that not many people get asked.
Yes.
And not many people asking that question actually believe in people. But the experience I had was, and I still to this day can't understand, why did he believe in me?
Yeah. But that's all it takes.
Yeah, but that's all it takes. Yeah.
And to follow on from that, because again, we do a lot of work with the youth. You do a lot of work with the youth. What is something you wish you wish more people would understand about the work you do? Because I know for a fact it isn't easy.
Not, you know, I don't come from the school of easy. I come from the school of, and I'm not only talking about youth work, I'm talking about everything in life. You have to presume it's going to be difficult if it's going to be good. And so every challenge I've had, and I've had some challenges in my life, they've all been difficult. And so all I'm really doing is imparting that knowledge into the next generation. Passing it on because, you know, it goes back to that image of that man who sits on the wall in your community, and he's almost like the guy who's got all the wisdom. You know, he doesn't ask for anything, but he just sits there and he'll pass wisdom on. And I guess in some way, that's how I see myself. It's like I'm just passing wisdom on. And so it's, you know, and wherever that takes me, and it's taken me to a few places, it really is just about how can I pass that wisdom on?
Yeah, and that's big because, you know what I mean, you never know what type of person you're going to meet, and you never know what that person that you could install something upon, something positive, that they can go and reach amazing heights that no one even thought was possible, that they might not even thought was possible. Paul, who is the most interesting person you've worked with?
The most interesting person I've worked, when you say worked with?
Or, well, you've worked with, because you do a lot of work.
The most interesting person I've worked with? Oh, that's a great question.
Yes, one of great questions.
Obviously you.
Oh, thank you.
You're one of the greatest.
I'll take that as a compliment.
The greatest.
I'll take that as a compliment.
No, it really is. It really is an experience working with you because you're flexible, and it's rare to find that in somebody, not just a young person, in anybody. He's very flexible.
Thank you.
I've worked with so many people. I mean, working with people like, because I'm doing a lot now with quote celebrities. One of the interesting people I've worked with recently is Jumping Jack Frost, who is just an amazingly down-to-earth person that you wouldn't believe because of his global status. But there's so many people. There's so many people, but because of who I am, I don't get floored by, you know, we were in that film with Javan Wade.
Yes.
Just after he was in The Purge, and you know, when I went home and said to my son, you know, I'm in this film with Javan Wade, he was like, what? What are you doing? And I was like, we're just making a short film, a awareness film. And he was like, oh my God, that's Javan Wade. So for me, it's like, as long as I stay who I am, I don't get fazed by it, and it opens the doors to a lot.
You're very humble, and I love that about
you.
you.
Very humble.
What do you prefer, talking on TV and radio or talking in schools?
Why have you posed such a difficult question now? Say the question again.
What do you prefer, talking on TV and radio or talking in schools?
I'm going to be brutally honest here.
Go for it.
Talking on radio and TV.
Why?
Because I'm going to tell you a quick story why I decided to do this. Quick story
Go
time.
for it.
So I had a few car problems the other day, and
Have to adjust.
And I know you have to adjust
have
for
to
this
adjust
one. I'm
it.
full of
Story
stories. And so I called up somebody. I was trying to find a turbo for my car. So I'm calling up these companies. So I called a second company, and I say, do you have turbos for this car? And the man on the phone says, can I just stop you there? He says, I don't know you, but just listening to your voice, it sounds like you should be on radio.
Wow.
And I remember,
Wow.
he didn't have the damn gear part I needed, but it made me think. It made me think that God blesses us with specific tools that we have, and sometimes it takes, like the man who said to me, "What do you want to be?"
Amen.
Maybe that was for a time. So maybe that's another indicator for a new time. And so the answer to that question is that, you know, young people will always be coming up through the schools, but you know, the reason why it's a double-binded question is because I'm actually at the stage in my life now where I have to think about myself.
Yeah.
And what do I see?
You have to put yourself.
Yeah.
First.
And so that's how loaded that question was.
Yeah.
So when I think back to the question, I would have to say that radio and TV. I'd have to say that.
See that I love this because he doesn't know what I'm going to say, and I have these deep questions that just makes him think about his whole life.
You spent time on them ones. You spent time on those questions.
This.
Not many people can throw a question at me that I can't get with. So I love it. I love it. Keep going. Keep going.
See, anyone who wants to be my next guest. You ready for the next one?
Right.
What is something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet? Or / what's on your bucket list?
Oh.
Done it again.
Well, in some strange way, I've done a lot on my bucket list. You've done it again now. You spent time. You've been speaking to people I know.
I know more about you than
know,
you
right? Great question, Ellis. So, something well, up until last year, it was the helicopter thing, did that. And I guess one thing I would love to do is to parachute.
Dalvin said that last week.
I would love to parachute, and it's something I'm going to do. Because, you know, to get over the fear of, first of all, going up in a helicopter and actually flying the helicopter.
Yeah.
Now, from going to that to now wanting to jump out the damn thing. So I may fly it up there and then,
Guys, we are not crazy. Okay.
But wouldn't that be good if we recorded it though, Ellis? No, that's wrong. It's wrong.
We should make a short film about it.
3 minutes long. There's the takeoff. And he's jumped.
Where's part 2? About that.
Yeah, actually, the parachute did not open.
Okay.
But yeah.
Where can people find you on social media?
Again, I'm not, you know, I've got quite a big social media presence. And I'm going to add this bit for a man of my age, because there are certain people of my age who have like a follower. So I see, no, I know people who go like, hey, Paul, I've got 2 people following me. And I'm like, wow. Maybe your age. So I've got a few thousand people that religiously follow me. People can find me on Instagram, Facebook. I'm not going to give those handles because I do believe that if people want to find you, when they finally find you and add you and follow you, then they become more committed to the things that you do. So yeah. So I don't do that plug where find me. No,
I love that.
Find me.
I love that.
Yeah, most of the videos that I
serious.
make, awareness videos, I don't even put my name on them. Because I just want people, because it's about the awareness, it's about the topic, and people who find me,
We'll find you.
there's a couple of things that happen. We normally stay friends. So I'm not really into I like you to no, if you want to know who I am, find me.
Find me. Paul McKenzie.
Yeah.
Find him. He's a mysterious man.
See the links down bit? No. I just said I wouldn't do that. I just said I wouldn't do the link thing. But find me if you want to find me. You know where to look. People know where to find people.
Just magician.
Yeah.
Full of tricks up his sleeve. Paul McKenzie, you also have a podcast.
Absolutely.
Rhino in
You've
the
been
room.
doing your research.
Tell us about that. How did that come about?
The boy is good.
I am.
So the Rhino in the Room is my official podcast. It's a podcast, again, which is tied into that question. That's why I love the question you asked before. It's about me developing that side of me and actually learning to use my voice more.
Intellectual property, guys. Come
intellectual
on.
property. So the Rhino in the Room, kind of the concept of the rhino being in the room, because we're too used to the elephant in the room. We're too used to seeing the elephant in the corner, but we know the elephant's there, but nobody does anything about the elephant. But what the rhino does is the rhino smashes the room up. So it changes the narrative.
Okay.
So the whole point of the rhino is that it's a little bit, or I should say a little less subtle than the elephant that just sits in the corner of the room.
That's a strong one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna end on this last question for you. What is one positive quote or affirmation that resides strong with you or has changed your life?
So, life is either an adventure or nothing at all.
Oh, you have to explain that one a bit more, because
It's either your life is worth living or it's not worth anything. So you got to make your days, you got to fill your days with things that you call adventures. Yeah, because life can be daunting.
Yes.
Life can be, life has got so many different processes to go through. But if every day you wake up and say, what's the adventure today?
That's a great analogy.
Does that make sense? What is going to be, okay, the bills will keep coming through the door.
Yeah.
The people will still are asking you for, none of that stops.
Yeah.
However, in all of that, where can I find an adventure?
And the thing with me, I believe everyone is put on this earth for a reason. Right?
Yep.
You may know it, you may not know it. Everyone has their purpose within this life, and your purpose might be to serve other people. Your purpose might be something small, or your purpose might be something huge. But I believe everybody has a purpose within this life, and everyone should do their utmost to do the things that they love, whether it's serving food to the community, whether it's acting, whether it's songwriting, whether it's breakdancing, whether it's whatever it is. I believe
Just do it.
Just do it. Life is an adventure.
It is. It's the greatest thing. And there's a famous quote, and I'm going to try and get it verbatim. It's Les Brown, motivational coach, and he says, when you're laying on your deathbed, which we all will be one day, you don't want to be looking back, reflecting on the things you haven't done. You want to be looking at death, staring death in the eyes, and saying to yourself, thank God I did everything I wanted to.
Sometimes you have to do things you're afraid of, and that's something that I need to take on board as well. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like.
Let's do the parachute jump.
Let's do it, man. I'm
From
not
a helicopter.
But Paul McKenzie, it's been an honor. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure.
Massive shout out always to MK Films, aka Michael. Massive plug. Look at the, come on. Massive shout out. Guys, thank you so much for watching episode 4. Please get in the comments down below. Let us know what we did well. Let us know what we can improve on. Let us know your answers to some of the questions that we've thrown out today. And stay blessed, stay safe, have an amazing week. We'll catch you in the next one.
And I was like, I said, sorry? There's never a time in my life where I related back to, because I'm like, how do you, he goes,